I feel like we've come to consensus on this, but I want to be clear on this. We're going to either cast the spell on her or make it the necklace, right? Like we're going to just... This is the condition of you continuing to group with us and continuing to be in our auspices, is you're wearing this.
Either you lose the tail or we lose you.
Yeah.
Or maybe a combination of both.
Yeah, I was going to ask if the chastity belt of no more scrying was the plan.
Like we don't have to go with the route of the chastity belt. I feel like we're already hurting this poor woman too much. But
picturing the men in tights, you know.
It's okay. We'll just call him the locksmith.
Are you the key master? Well, if it's not a necklace, it would be something you'd have to either try and make yourself or get commissioned or something like that. Because the necklaces are kind of the de facto standard.
Well, plus you mentioned they're semi-common, right? So even if we don't have Liam make one, we probably have a decent chance of just procuring one.
Probably. I mean, I will not say definitely without actually looking, but it's not, it's like something that you could reasonably find in a area of high magic, right?
Yeah, I don't think I could cast high enough, and I'd have to get a scroll or something to be able to cast it myself. So
yeah, I mean, you and you actually could get this spell, Liam, if you don't have it in your book already. The problem is to actually make the item you need, like the components, right? And plus, it's jewelry. So unless you did it in something else that someone else is proficient in, then. But you could definitely cast this. The thing is that the spell, the non-detection, is not like permanent. It lasts like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Just buy a box of scrolls and just keep casting it.
Yeah. It's a 3rd level spell. So
it's not super hard to come by,
and it costs 25 gold every time you cast it.
That's...
You need diamond dust for it.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm thinking necklace. In fact, can we just make this official? Can we just do a roll to find necklace?
Yeah. I will just say for the record, the non-detection spell does have some additional advantages over the necklace.
Okay.
Because they can both target creatures, but the spell can target a place or an object that is like 10 by 10 feet cubed. So you can like non-detect a location with this, as opposed to necklace, which is just a person. So that's why it's 8 hours. It's like,
yeah.
Coincidentally enough, that's exactly how long a rest takes. Okay, so let's do some searching for this. How about?
Is she really worth it?
Listen.
You're asking the wrong person right now.
I mean,
I'm committed at this point. I'll be honest, in character and out. I don't mind dumping the expense and the work into her, but
the problem is if I'm casting this, I have to keep a 3rd level spell slot open every day.
So hang on. I'm assuming that's one of those you can't cast it as a ritual.
That's correct.
That would have solved everything right there.
Yep. Well, do you want to see what the magic item market looks like for this?
Yeah. Yes. Let's see. Because if we could just buy a necklace, let's just buy a necklace.
All right. Is there someone going out to look for this, or you gonna try
what kind of stat would be advantageous for that?
Persuasion, charisma, persuasion.
All right. So Liam, you want to
haggle?
I'll go out too.
Hold on. I've got my contacts. The alchemists, the smelters, and the brewers.
If you'd like, you can ask one of them to do it instead. They probably have a much better persuasion.
Yep. I'm going to contact the brewers, the Musgart.
Okay, Musgart.
Yep. I'm going to have them see if they can find it for us.
All right. So I tell you, if you need it on short notice, like this week, we can see.
How soon, guys?
We can isolate her for now if you don't want to be, persnickety about it.
I mean, he'll tell you
We're
basically it
supposed
could
to
be today, it could be 5 days from now. It just really
Sure.
depends on what they can find.
Oh, by
We're
the
also
way,
set to
Testa.
leave at some point in time.
Yeah, yeah. I was just saying, we not only want to leave to get him to after the service, but I think we're all in agreement. We're not leaving her alone with anybody right now.
That's why I didn't like jump at the opportunity to go find this item. I'm like, no. She's suspect as hell right now.
Yeah, she's super sus.
So that kind of like leads me to my other, like, before we dive down this road, which I'm not opposed to, at the same time, what is she providing to the group aside from lore and conduit to Underdark and Loth kind of stuff? I mean, she's not really a guide. She's a priestess, quote, without her magic. She seems really interested in my brother and wanting, hinting that like he might need to be put down. I'm like, that doesn't really instill confidence. Like, I'm not going to ever house sit for me while I'm out, adventuring for the weekend, kind of thing.
I mean, I'll admit she doesn't bring as much to the party as quite literally everyone else we have in the group, including the fungus.
I was going to say, at least Stool has a purpose.
Yeah.
But I will also say, and this is something that's always been in the back of my mind, inevitably we're going to go to Drowlands. And having a drow who is good with us, who is on our side, it can only help with that, And
But if,
Right, but we have to assume that she's on her side, which is beneficial to her right now being with us until that's no longer a thing. She would sell us out for, a ploufwe at the least provocation.
I don't have anything to add to that. I mean, I do kind of want both in character and out to try and convert her, for lack of a better way to put it, to be less horrible. And that's kind of the motivation there. But past that, no, I got nothing.
not to be gross, but I'm pretty sure she would sell us out for a fart.
Also fair.
I mean,
yeah, the bar's pretty low right now.
right. Especially if we are in the process of cutting her off from Lolth.
Yeah, like for a conduit for her to get back into good graces, it just seems to kind of right itself. And, I don't want to be Wash sitting there on the bridge with the dinosaurs going, damn your inevitable betrayal.
Right. I don't have that spell cord. Brainwash.
That sounds like a fun one. That sounds like a low-level cantrip.
Yeah. Let me just cast this.
That'd be
Hey,
great.
your mind is now different.
Actually, it's actually closer than you'd think.
Oh, God.
Fifth level.
Yeah.
Wow.
Would have gone with Stupefy, but okay, Obliviate works too.
We just finished watching the whole Harry Potter series last night.
Still need to see the last two. Never did. Read all the books, but haven't seen.
Well, I'll just put it on a flash drive and give it. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Let me just email that to you.
Inconvenient.
If you guys are going to basically vote her out of the party, I'm not going to try and oppose that. Like I said, my honest to God major motivation here is to try and turn her into something better than she is. And that might be a lost cause. That might never be happening. There are other drow we could get a hold of who are less horrible.
More drow in the Underdark? What are you talking about?
Oh, you can go find Dritz,
Yeah, we just need to find Dritz, okay?
Oh.
We're level 8 now. Speaking of which, did we level after the Thanatos incursion? I'm just curious.
No.
It was
Are we a sliver away?
while
from
amazing. That was a pretty quick encounter.
It was literally 48 seconds. I
just
counted.
Scream in, scream out, and pull some amazing weirdness at the end, so everyone gets away with minimal damage. I mean,
I was trying to describe to Sis that, and I'm like, all right, hang on. And I pull out a stopwatch. I'm like, all right. And so I start describing to her, and I got like a 2-sentence in pause. Okay, that's how long the whole encounter happened. What? Okay, let me finish explaining.
Yeah, it was probably one of our faster
It's
runs.
true.
Yeah.
So, Laura, I'm not opposed to your idea in theory. It's just how are we going to do it in practice? That's my hang up. Unless we have a way to convince her, whether by force or what's the other option?
Torture?
Not force,
Yeah, sorry.
coercion, persuasion, being a
Waterboarding?
not
Where are we going with
horribly
this?
evil person. Are all three of us aligned good?
No,
Let me check real quick.
I'm lawful evil.
Oh,
And why are
lawful
you
neutral.
against interacting with this drow? You're evil, man. Come on.
But lawful, and I am of the group, whereas she is not.
Mhm.
So, by hook or by crook. There we go.
Yeah.
So, do we try and convince her to join the group, as it were, or do we let her go and risk what comes with that, or do we kill her? I mean,
I'm going to go ahead and say my character is going to be pretty anti just kill her.
and
Like,
I wouldn't go past turning her into the authorities. I mean, that would be a pretty easy move. While a real jerk move, but with the Drow uprising, it would be a super simple sell at this point in time. I mean, we talked to the captain, like, yeah, she's a former priestess of Lolth, who is, I believe, part of the demon pantheon. So have at, it wouldn't be that far of a walk. Again, not a great move, all told.
500 dark side points gained.
Basically, yeah. That's immediate.
Her,
That's immediate glowing red eyes.
Cord, I'm picturing the Danny DeVito thing. So I started blasting.
Let's be back, guys.
I will say that your contact comes back to you after about a day.
Oh.
With an offer. Yeah, actually, it was super good rolls. And he says that there's one available for 300 gold.
All right.
We can try this as plan A and then see if plan B needs to be trebuchet back into the Underdark.
One of the things, sorry, I meant to mention, and that's kind of predicated on this, it's entirely possible that part of the issues we're having with her and the lack of conversion of her is the fact that she's still hearing voices, which I guarantee are not Lolth. So, and I think that in character too. There's no way she's just hearing Lolth. That's not how that works.
No.
Well, it could be the Illithid again. That was.
It's got to be the Illithid. Who else has already had an issue in her, right?
Yeah.
I swear you just said elephant.
It's got to be the elephant, man. Don't you?
Yeah,
just
that
listen.
one in the room,
Look
right?
at those
Nobody seems to look at.
No, but think about it though. An elephant dressed as a mind flayer in the Underdark would
There
be
you
just
go.
as frightening, if not more so.
Oh god, that would be
Oh, yeah.
terrifying. Yeah,
Think
they've
about
got the
wrong.
trunk, and then they got the extra tentacles
Yeah.
just to this
Not
side.
cool.
It's just-
I'm not okay
oh,
with that.
God, that's messed up.
Thank you, Tazara. Good. Thank you for your generosity. Yeah,
So you're who I'm waiting on. Someone must have faith in you, Cupcake. That, or they want you out of the picture. Interesting choice either way.
forgot that had that sound. Let's. Okay. As much as I don't want to show our hand, as it were, I think approaching Asha and offering the scrying block and what.
So basically making it her choice is what
Yeah.
I'm hearing. That's a good idea, and I'm with that. What we should probably, whoever talks to, whoever has the charisma rolls, because it's not me, should probably
Always
do
me.
it. You're the one with charisma. What do you want from me? Should probably try to slant this as we have reason to suspect that's not Lolth you're hearing, because that's probably going to catch her attention more than anything else, right? Like that'll probably piss her off. Like, oh, what? Someone's trying to impersonate Lolth,
I agree.
you know? So
Well, also more importantly, wouldn't that be a great way to test? Like, wouldn't it? And before we get into the whole deity argument, wouldn't a god be able to overpower something as simple as an item that is casting a anti-scrying or anti-detection spell
Yeah.
as an item? They would be able to override that without an issue.
True.
Yep. No, absolutely.
Okay.
So we could use it as a like, hey, here's our proof.
Do we want to go that route, or
I'm willing to give it a try.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. Let me see. I don't know how much money we have, but I think I can cover the cost of that myself.
I think we still have a
That's
good
the
amount of
character
money.
sheet.
yeah, because
Even with everything.
I grabbed a bunch of platinum too. So
As I say, I think we're fine after killing a dragon.
Yeah,
No, I'm not letting that go. Where's our level third? Yeah, no, I could cover that just out of the golden pockets. I'll pay for it. I'll pay for it. This is kind of I'm the one kind of pushing for the redemption thing. I'll pay the price for it. So.
Okay.
300, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So
and you're the charisma person, Guido.
Contact comes through. So you get the amulet, and it doesn't look like this is Durgar make, unlike your other stuff. This looks probably like it came from the surface world, or from where you're used to it. And so it's like kind of bright and coppery, and it's got a symbol of like a closed eye on it. So it stands out a little bit from Durgar stuff, but it's important.
I should probably switch over to this. Oops. Yes, Croatia. Is it Croatia?
Croatia, like the
Croatia?
nation.
Yes. Third is the DM for this. So
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna do identify on it just to confirm that it does have what we expect it to.
Yep. You ritual cast identify, and it seems to confirm what you think it is.
Okay.
Speaking of Harry Potter, what was that? The 6th book? Yeah, Half-Blood Prince, the necklace. Let's make sure we identify that sucker.
Yeah.
I'll just put it on.
Sure, it's safe.
All right. Anyone want to help me with my persuade on
Yeah, I'll
Masha?
assist.
Okay.
I'll give you the
Thank you.
advantage.
I think Tassin might be there by default. Since
I was going to say, Tastin's probably there because
Always.
he's there with his frickin' brother, but
Yeah.
Still hasn't woken up after. Well, I mean, been in and out, right? This is pretty much a thing that you just have to constantly tend to, but seems to be getting better. All right. It's your move.
Yep. Sorry. Wow. Thank you for that advantage. I rolled a 1 and a 16.
I like the second one.
Yeah. What is my persuasion?
now advantage means you can pick whichever role you want. So you can pick the one.
So
Yeah.
I can either have a 5 or a 20. I think I'm going to go with the 5.
Yeah, go for the hard road.
It's
We're actually
so
playing hard
tempting.
mode. Yeah.
We didn't sell it at all.
But she looks like she's coming over. Like, actually, wham!
Oh, just instant punch.
So what is your approach to this? I know you had mentioned just fully saying, hey, if this is Wolf actually speaking to you, this should stop it, and a couple other ideas.
Yeah. We appreciate your devotion to Lolth. However,
You're a moron.
That's it. That's
Okay, great. There we
that's
go.
in character. She's like, sure you do.
we don't agree with it, but we can appreciate your devotion. However, we don't think whoever's talking to you is Lolth. We'd like to offer you a choice. We have the ability to block the basic spell of is it scry and what?
The ones that you detected were Scry and telepathic bond. Both divination.
Telepathic bond?
Yes.
And so that blocks the telepathic bond?
Yeah, it's a divination, so it would block it.
Excuse me. We have the ability to block the connection if it's someone casting a spell who's not Lolth. If it is Lolth, they'll be able to break through the block without difficulty. But if they're not Lolth, they're talking to you and they're trying to convince you to do things. Which I'm not sure exactly how to word this.
Which be bad, yo.
Well, yeah.
Well, you did roll a 20 persuasion?
Unnatural 20, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, essentially, you start off like that, and then you kind of give her the suggestion that you don't want other people to, because you can see you're starting to lean the way of, well, this is like me testing my faith in lawful. I definitely don't want this. And then you start suggesting that, well, obviously you don't want other drow to, underhandedly undermine that or, be deceitful to you. And this is actually a way to prevent that. So this is what Loth would want. And kind of backwards logic your way over to her.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And,
if you were one of the cool kids, you would do this.
Yeah, kind of. It's like, this is actually what Loth would want because you're being smart and not letting yourself get tricked.
Crafty.
Yeah. So, and you push that button. She's like, "Oh, I hate to say it, but that's actually a good idea. Let me see this." And she asks for the necklace. And she seems to look at it for a second, like she's trying to really figure out what it is, and then places it on her neck, which looks really out of place compared to what she normally wears. But and she picks it and tucks it out underneath the cloak. And it'll take like an hour to attune to her, so it's not active yet. She says, I'll let you know if it stops.
I lean over to Taston. Let me know if it stops.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Dawnbringer says in your head, Taston, he says, I could just, if you give her to me, I could just fix this.
Yes, I know you could make it stop. Let's keep that as a distant plan Q. Not that Q.
Okay.
God, if that's how it actually worked, if you just mention him and he just shows up right
That would be horrible.
like, and I have no idea what to do now. We're so far out of our depth.
Well, shoot. No,
actually, with Dawnbringer, I do have a side question. So, the Greater Restoration that works once a day, would that be something that would be useful to cast again on Cuillin, or is it kind of a one and done sort of thing? Like, can you treat it like rehab?
Right. So yes and no. If there is a bunch of stacking things, let me see. I actually do need to look at this. Actually, yes, it would be, because it reduces exhaustion levels.
Okay.
So it would help speed up the process of recovery.
Okay.
While we're on that subject, how many levels has Dawnbreaker gained in Thanatos?
Oh, so I looked at that, and yeah, it was.
I'm so happy to be
pretty
alive.
good, but it's not enough, because unfortunately they're all like quarter CR things. So
But it should be enough to maintain the existing bonuses.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay.
I mean, even just one of them would have been enough. But
No. I'm stocking up.
That's a good point. Do we have to go like find some random zombie? Do we need to summon a demon so that he can keep the buffs going?
No, that's why we're keeping Asha, right? That'd be so dark.
Emergency Dawnbringer rations.
Yeah. And go.
That is so horrible. I'm sorry.
It really is. It really is.
Listen, Asha, we've been keeping her on this whole time so we could kill you in case the sword needs to have some food. So,
yeah. But it is notable that it has been a day without going to Thanatos at this point, and unless you go out and try and find an evil creature to defeat, I guess you still have 2 more days until it starts losing properties.
Diminishing. Okay.
I mean, isn't one of the downtime activities you can take go find and kill something? I know. I'm pretty sure I've read that. No, I'm serious. There was a
wander off into a field.
It wasn't local hunting. It was like keeping the town safe or something like that was what it was called.
Oh,
like patrolling. And so
that's what we've been doing since we got here.
And so, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, fair. But you get my point. Like you go out and it's like, oh my God, there's a Flargendarg attacking us right now. We defeat the Flargendarg, and there you go.
What flavor of Flargendarg?
Vanilla.
Of course.
I don't recall there being something like that. Let me double check. But
that's valid. Hey, Taston, go outside and kill things until you find something evil.
Random passersby. They're all lawful evil. It tracks.
I mean, it's actually true.
I mean, if you want to be really messed up about
it, technically.
No. If you really want to be messed up about it, talk to the captain, the night captain, and say, hey, do you have any prisoners who have been found guilty and need to be executed?
I don't know if I want to go Inquisition quite yet, though.
Yeah, I mean...
But I'm a cleric, a little less.
Do they have an Undercroft? That might work.
They have a... I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
Yeah, like a place where there would totally be undead in a city like that.
No. Well, I'll say this. They say no.
Why would you have something like that if you didn't have to? It's like, well, we got this place, we've been storing the undead. Not sure why, but we figured it might be a worthwhile thing to kind of stock up on.
We've got hundreds. We've just been keeping around in case we
need them. It's an untapped market.
There was this one dude
There's just
in
no
Thay.
Demand.
This is not a joke. There's this one dude in Thay, and I forget the town, but he kept like a bunch of undead just sealed in this place. So that and it was all locked and under key and magical barrier. So that everyone who, if anybody came there to try and take him down, which someone obviously did, they would be like, here's where the treasure hoard is. And every sign pointed to it as the treasure hoard. And even on the blueprints, it was called the treasure hoard. They opened it up, undead, killed the party.
Okay.
Don't dead open inside, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
X marks the spot.
Yeah.
That is a good question now that you, I guess, are in character thinking about it. You really haven't seen like a place of internment or anything like this around here, like a suspicious lack of it.
How do they deal with their dead? Because we're underground and, well, the dragon's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I figured they threw them into the forges.
Wait a minute.
What?
The place we went, where we found Glabagul,
right?
That whole area has
the laboratory.
Well, it has the laboratory, but it also has other things that are evil. It has the cultists. It has.
Didn't we put that under a lot of water?
I don't remember flooding it.
Yeah. No, sorry. There was some reason it was running out of air.
No, we did. There was a place that was flooded. That was a while ago, but
okay.
That's where I got kind of my slime powers, and where we found Glabagul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did find Glabagul there. Okay.
You know, that's a valid point, though. You remember that spot where we went out where there was the demon spider webs? We just go there. We know where that was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You do know where that is.
See? There you go. Let's head there. I'm with you, Tess. I got your back.
Look for trouble, but
no, you're going to have to leave your brother under someone else's care. That's
not feeling that.
I'll watch him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
She's got his back in every sense of it.
Yeah, a knife or 3 in his back.
Ront can watch him.
All right, whatever. Let's wait an hour. What freaking happens with Asha?
Well, I mean, she doesn't say anything after an hour.
Great.
She
It's
just
a silence
continues.
medallion.
Yeah. No, I mean, after about an hour, she tells you that I'll let you know if I have a lack of hearing something. It's not as if Loth constantly talks to me.
We could
Nothing
just
right
cast
now.
Detect Magic again and see if those spells are no longer on her.
Good. Although you did dispel them earlier. Well, you could.
All right,
double check,
fine.
I guess.
That's fair. Check to see if they're
I
reapplied.
suppose this is the obvious question I should have asked earlier. Is there such a thing as counter scrying? Like, can we star 69 this? Like, is that an option?
Counter scrying.
Get an IP address.
Not well. Not really. Well,
We
I
trace
say
the
that.
IP here. Can we?
We'll get like a divination feedback.
Yeah. I'm asking sincerely because I actually don't remember in this setup.
I cast Trace Route.
There it is.
So, I mean, the answer is kind of it depends. Scrying is a pretty safe way to not be revealed. There are some ways that if the target who cast it is close to the area, you could potentially find them. But the chances are, if they're that close, then they're either an idiot or, well, I guess that's.
Or it's already too late.
Yeah. Because there's no real way to do like a counter scry unless you develop some sort of spell for it. But there's nothing in your knowledge that can do that. Maybe some items.
I'm pretty sure we'd need a crystal ball too.
You even
It's a bit
can't
on the
really.
nose.
So here's, and I guess this would probably be Liam's knowledge. Here's kind of what you know about scrying. Scrying is like you choose a particular creature, right? And the ease of scrying on something depends on first your knowledge of it. Like if you've only heard of the person, then it's much harder compared to if you know them well or know them firsthand, right? Also, if you have something of theirs, like a picture or something they own, or even a body part, and I don't mean like an arm or something. I mean like you can just get like a piece of hair, right? Then that makes it incredibly easy to scry on them. And if you do scry on someone, what it really does is it creates like an invisible scrying ball like next to them, really, and you just see and hear through it like you were just standing there. But you're locked to that target. So like if it goes to another room, then you have to follow it. Now, if you are able to see like invisible objects, you can see the scrying sensor. And if the scrying is targeting like a particular location, it's more useful in that instance, because in that case, like you can like detect magic and you won't even see anything. You actually have to be able to see invisible stuff to see the sensor, so it's not targeting a creature. Right? But as far as like if you are able to find that, like the scrying's there, some general info about it, but there's no way to say, oh, this belongs to Bob the Archlich, or anything like that. Yeah. So it's kind of difficult to figure out. Now, I mean, if they're nearby, you can perhaps try and like immediately locate them or something like that, but those are generally pretty close range. And like I said, if they're that close, it's unlikely.
It's actually Taston. He's been the one scrying on her this entire time.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because it's easier to do and get away with when I'm in the room. So you wouldn't think I would be scrying because I'm already there seeing the things that are happening. So who better?
Yo, dog.
Like that wouldn't give you like a mental like break meltdown of seeing multiple versions like through your own eyes and then through like another angle within the same room. That would make you really sick if you're motion sickness prone.
It's true.
It's like the worst VR ever.
Oh God, yeah.
We'll
Okay,
talk about
so
mixed reality.
I want to cast Detect Honesty on her.
Detect honesty.
oops.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
there's zone of truth.
Was it? Oh, right. Okay. I was like, is there sense motive?
Insight.
Insight. Okay. Yeah,
No,
you may make a wisdom insight.
Okay.
In the interim, by the way, in the day, I just want to put this in there to make sure we don't lose efficiency. I was kind of getting ready and prepped for the trip to the surface, like whatever prep time in terms of resources and connections, and that caravan we're kind of going with, all
Yes, that reminds me. So after that day where spent getting the magic item and continuing to watch over Cuillin and stuff, the edict does get lifted, and there is a mass exodus from the visitors district of the city. Like, you can tell that it is lifted almost immediately, because you hear gates like slamming open and the sound of a large horde of people moving out. Very, very large, very, very noisy.
When the doors open, there's just cheers.
Yes, it's like, which is very Undurgar like, so who's doing this. And it's gonna take a while for everybody to filter out, but when you look down there and see from the Deep King's Hold what's going on, you see that they're kind of going light on checking paperwork and stuff. They're just letting people leave almost, just because the sheer volume in it, and you suspect there's probably going to be some rioting if they don't just let them out. But they're streaming out. And you figure this will probably take the better part of the day to even just get people out. The road's absolutely packed going out.
Cord, it probably is very similar to the Berlin Wall.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got to see that on TV.
Or Thanksgiving
I was
holiday
a
traffic.
little young, but I still saw it.
Yep.
All right, so that
since
sounds
we are going
like
to have some more downtime while Mark's doing the kind of prep stuff, I'm also going to be spending some time basically praying for assistance from Kellenford to help with Craylin's recovery.
I will say this. I was kind of looking at some of the divination stuff, and there is a way you could perhaps find out the identity of the scryer. They're out of, well, one of them's not out of level for you. The other ones are, and that's spells like divination or commune, which is essentially contacting a deity or proxy and asking questions of them. And they may be cryptic. They're not going to say like, oh, it's X and Y person, but you can ask things like, well, who has been scrying on us? And you can receive an answer of some sort. Commune is a little bit better. It's 5th level. It is ritual, though. Divination is 4th level. It is a cleric spell. It is a ritual. And it's more of you ask a question about something that's going to occur within 7 days, but, it might give you a hint. Who knows? So.
I'm gonna pray to Azuth and see if he knows anything about who has been scrying on Asha, since he is appreciative of learning things and knowledge.
Okay.
You need a roll of any kind on that?
I'll take a D100 roll.
$92.
92.
Yep.
Okay. Results unclear.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make a religion check off that. Just straight up intelligence religion. Yeah. Uh-oh. Religion fell
Natural
off.
20.
Wow. Okay.
So religion is going to be
Critical religion.
25.
Wow. You get real religious all of a sudden.
Well, I know my God.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So Sorry, I'm just reading something about this real quick related to this.
When deity is pulled at a 32, kill the party immediately.
Oh, God, another spell plague. You rolled another spell plague. I'm sorry.
That's how it always happens.
Yeah. You know, it had to be someone who rolled a natural 20 in his religion check. That's how it happens.
Yep.
Here we go. So you do your prayer to Azuth, as you do, observing all the proper rituals and stuff, things he likes, right? And this doesn't happen immediately after you're done, but within a few minutes, you see something which catches your eye. Like normally it wouldn't really catch anyone's attention normally, because you just see like a little gray cat just kind of like walking around the palace. And you've seen like they have like animals around, like it's not that unusual. But your religious knowledge knows that Azuth generally favors gray cats. You're like, maybe this means something.
Okay.
And you watch it for a second, and you notice that it seems to be stalking something. And you look at it around the corner, and you see that it pounces on something on the floor. It's just obviously play hunting, right? You can tell. And you see that it has captured a little spider. And you see a larger spider and a couple of their smaller ones run away from it, like it had just disturbed a little, new hatching of it. And since you roll a freaking 25, you kind of realize what this means, what this omen means. You believe that this means that Azuth has pointed to a minor follower of one of the spider deities, obviously referencing Loth. You believe that this is the omen that it is sent, that the indication is that it is a follower of Loth that has been doing this.
But it's not Loth themselves, it's a follower.
An intern, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, an intern. Yeah, right. Captured the intern spider.
Yeah.
Did we ever kill her boss?
Who's boss?
Ashes, the priest who was in charge of that jail camp.
I
Yes.
thought she.
Okay. I honestly couldn't remember. And I was thinking, oh God, has she been following us this whole time? I can't even think of her name.
That would be pretty bad.
Yeah, I to be honest, I do not remember her name either because she died in the first chapter.
Like I said, I just remember that we had that big boss
Mistress Ilvara of House Mizram.
Oh,
That's
no,
right.
That sounds right.
That's right.
Because she was very adamant that we use the full title or there would be continued beatings.
Okay.
So yeah, Liam, do you believe you have received an omen from Azuth or maybe one of his proxies or something like that?
As an aside, have I seen the symbol of Bahamut yet that I've been watching for like a few days at this point?
You have not in the areas that you've gone through, not that you've seen.
I go up to where's my symbol? Where's my symbol? And I start shaking the dog. Where's my symbol?
You walk in and Mark's just sitting there shaking a dog.
What is never mind. It's supposed to be some monk thing.
Brent says, sorry, this is a private meeting. Close the door.
Yeah. All right.
God, now I'm picturing that scene from Men in Black.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Different dog, but that was like where my mind immediately went to.
He starts slapping him in the face.
Yeah.
Tell me. Okay, so I'm prepping to go. You're watching her. You're doing the thing. I guess we're waiting on you at this point there for when we're ready to leave.
Okay. Well, the question I have is, I mean, you're prepped. Now, did you want to try and just go out with one of the merchant caravans that are leaving, which we suspect will probably be gone pretty soon? Or did you want to take up the captain's offer for a military escort?
I thought we were taking up the offer, but I don't think we as a group decided that because that was kind of a me and her conversation. So I obviously have brought this to the group, in character. Like, so here's our options.
Military escort sounds like a good way to go.
Okay.
They know the hopefully they know the region since they're from here, and better armed in case we gotta fight another dragon.
I hope not. Hopefully, there's no deep dragons around here.
I mean, you did just get that dragon book, which has all those other fascinating dragons.
It did. It even has a picture of a deep dragon in there.
Yeah, no, we've got all this
So
stuff.
many
we can
options.
use. No.
How would you like to die today?
I don't want to wear them out. Deep dragons are pretty cool, though.
Don't worry, we'll be back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So the question I had then is for Tess, and so you can transport Cuillin. It looks like, he's getting better. Do you want to wait for his recovery? Do you want to take him with you? What would you like to do?
Probably take him with us, and then transport him on a cart, so he can still recover, and then kind of hit him with greater restoration as I can to help him out, and so when he can finally move on his own.
Okay. Yeah. He's probably not going to be doing a whole lot of walking for sure right now, but you can definitely transport him on a cart.
Okay.
Okay.
The armor that I took off of him, which is not the armor he went in with, I wanted to take some time and see if there's anything. Should we melt it down?
We can literally throw it into the fire. We've got
throw it into
forge
the fire. I mean,
place.
yeah. Is it evil, or is it just benign and just looks bad? It smells. I know. We went over that part, but yeah.
Go ahead and make me a intelligence religion check then. This thing.
It's blaspheme.
Yeah.
What's not the right dice set? I was just about to roll percentile. Someone's been playing too much Warhammer. All right. 11 and 14.
14. Okay. So you don't suspect that it's anything incredibly special. As a matter of fact, it doesn't look that well crafted, but you do definitely see some abyssal sigils and stuff. You don't think they're doing anything specifically, but it was obviously something crafted by demons or demon line folks. So
not so much.
Yeah, probably wouldn't get a warm welcome.
Yeah.
So if you want to just be like, hey, can you melt this down? They'll be like, sure.
Yeah. Go ahead and send that back to the plane of fire.
Yep. They're like, not a problem, and they take it to go melt it down.
Okay.
Can't even fit our troops anyway. So what use do we have for this? Nice symbols on it though. No, they don't say that. Don't worry. Don't worry. You don't think the person who takes it really even notices what those are. Okay. So the big question, I guess, is then, is everyone ready to take off? Oh, a couple things you do get. You do get your citizen paperwork. There are 4 of them, one for 3 of you and Ront. Because as far as I know, those are the people who participated, and they don't really consider a gelatinous cube something.
Oh, fine.
Unless you really ask,
wow.
but they're kind of like you don't think they even realized that this was more than just a pet or something.
That's honestly probably to our advantage. Let's let that one slide.
Also, to be fair, where is Gabagool going to hold the papers anyway?
Exactly.
So it's more of a logistics aspect at this point.
Mm-hmm. They also do, and if you're taken off, it'll be ready for you. They also do grant you the deed to a dwelling in the Black Skull District.
Ooh. Cool.
Which, if you go and look at it, it seems it's Spartan like the other dwellings in the Drogar area, but it's spacious enough. It looks like it's been very freshly cleaned and scrubbed top to bottom.
Can I attune my soul stone to that location?
Yeah, of course. You go there and light the bonfire in there.
Yeah, exactly. For when we die.
Actually, now that I mention that, let me see something real quick.
Wait, is that actually an option?
For clerics, yes. It's too high level. Too high level. So there's a spell that clerics get called Word of Recall. It's 6th level. But what you can do is you can cast it at a certain location, which is either like a temple that is dedicated to your deity or strongly linked, but you can prepare a place as a sanctuary too. So like if you're like, I set up a shrine to Kellenvor here, I designate this as my sanctuary, you can do that there. And then as long as you have the spell prepared, you and up to 5 other creatures within 5 feet of you will teleport there.
Wow.
That is incredibly. What level can you cast that spell? Like when do you get a 6th level spell?
6th level would be, I think that's like level 15, right?
I think it's 11.
Oh, okay, a lot sooner than I thought.
So I think you get 5th level at 9, right? Because you can cast 4th level.
I just got into 4th level.
Yeah. So you can get 5th level at 9, and this would be at 11. But yeah, this is literally 8. Everything is going bad. Let's get back to town. Cast.
Sure.
But for the future, right?
Yes, that'll be on the shopping list.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So, any other shopping you'd like to do before heading out?
We want meat provisions because I'm not eating fungus next time around. Tired of fungus. I'm sick to death of it. Okay, I hate every fungus and the stupid. Not you. You're cool, but
okay. So you can get some good stuff for a bit, but they tell you that eventually you're going to have to start eating some rations.
You know what? I don't mind rations as long as I don't have to forage, because we foraged for like 2 weeks when we first got out of here. And
they're like, no, we're not going to forage. That waste time.
Okay.
No, we're going to be taking stuff on ration stuff in the cart and stuff with us.
Okay.
Because they'll tell you that the actual primary purpose of this escort is to go and reestablish connections with like various outposts and settlements that they've lost contact with. But it also happens to be going by the route up.
Okay.
So they're not going to take you like 100% of the way there, but
at least get us within
very, very close to that amount. They'll be like, yeah, there's the exit. See you later.
Okay.
Because they figure that Duragar going up to the surface is not going to be taken very well. Plus, they don't want to go up there. So,
fine.
All right.
Didn't want you anyway.
So, I guess you're going to need that other cart back for Glavagul, that stone cart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Myconids, you're going to need a couple carts to just haul people.
At least some rickshaws.
Yeah. Because the Myconids will have to be on a cart as well, because they just can't go as fast. Glavagul will have to be in a cart. Raylan will have to be on a cart. So this is a regular old convoy.
Pretty much, yep.
Mm-hmm. So they're still going to stick with the main roads, then the main trails, because they're going to need to go over Dawn rocky terrain. So like it's going to take a little bit. They said they estimate it's probably going to take about 10 days or so to get to the destination. Just at the rate that everybody's going to be moving, they're not going to be rushing it. And you are accompanied by 7 Stone Guard. And they will make sure everyone's suited up. They go by and they check everyone. There seems to be an officer here who's leading everything. He goes through and make sure that everyone's all ready to go and such. Make sure everyone's all packed up. Seems to be a lot better at this than some of the other traveling companions that you had in the past when this last happened. And before we head out, I need to take a game of break real quick.
Okay.
So I'll be right back.
Okay, so walking up to get the dragon book so he can figure out which type of dragons we encounter.
Right,
Plural.
so we rig one of the carts with as much like equivalent C4 as we can. That's our first move.
Yeah, and then we like shovel. Now we're gonna have to put some of the C4 in your brother to make sure that he eats the brother along the way. Like, we have brought you this. That's actually not a bad idea. Not with your brother, obviously, but like
I was gonna say, no, wait a minute.
we encounter another dragon. It's like, oh, we have brought you this treat. It's filled with explosives.
Yeah, what would be an equivalent explosive material? And
Not actually sure.
I mean, technically, we could have like had something stuffed with a bunch of phasers and then given it to the dragon, which I would imagine would have some impact on its spellcasting abilities. The rest of it, we would have been on fire, and the layer thing and the fear would still be in effect. But otherwise, then no spell casting.
Yeah.
Or no coherent spell casting.
There's actually a book for 5th edition. It's actually free, called Explosives and Explosive Effects Supplement for 5th edition.
That doesn't sound safe.
Apparently the only thing that the DMG handles when it comes to explosives is grenade launchers, according to this.
There's a few other things, and then there's some things in supplements, but yeah, I mean, explosives are pretty far and few between. All right, so
how many dragons do we encounter on our first round of encounter?
you get to, well, let me roll for it. Let's see.
Yeah, roll 1d20.
All
That's
of
how
them.
many.
Oh, all right.
31. Oh.
Great.
Somehow they're all flying down here in this little tunnel.
Surrender now.
All right. So, Liam, you have that crystal that you were initially given when you first got here by the stone speaker, right?
Do I have that?
Someone has it, unless you threw it away.
I don't remember hanging on to that. I thought Tassin has it for the stone speaker's ability to cast that spell.
Oh, maybe Tassin has it.
That's the diamond, right?
Yeah, the one we didn't consume. Yeah, no, we have
right.
that.
Yeah. We.
No, this is a different thing.
No. Actually, that's in the treasury vault because they asked us as a.
Oh, right. Speaking of which, we got that on our way out.
Yeah, if you get the
we're
chest,
leaving.
if you on the way back.
Okay.
On the way out now.
Duh. Sorry,
Okay.
just making 100% because that was the deal.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm talking about the stone speaker. I could have sworn somebody got this.
I think
This is like very at the very, very beginning when you first encountered the stone speaker.
Well, okay. Never
Was this
mind.
when
I was actually there for
became
Yes.
a devotee of Kalimvor?
Yes.
I don't remember. I didn't remember getting a crystal for. Wait. Liam got something, but I got the ability to like amplify the magic. Was that from a crystal, or was it just something that?
No, that was something
happened
else.
for me?
I
Okay,
could have sworn that Liam got it because it gives you advantage on investigation checks.
I don't remember that.
Okay. All right, then. Never mind.
Hey, Liam, in your back pocket, you find this gem that gives you a bonus on investigation checks.
I mean, I don't have any notes on a gem or advantage on investigation.
Okay. Well, never mind then.
Let's see if it's in the list of stuff in the Discord real quick. It's gonna be way back.
You could do a find for investigation.
If you want to take the fun out of it.
Well, I mean,
Maybe I'm tripping, remembering something else.
I'm assuming we can come back to
Yeah,
that.
here we go. We've got uncommon magic item, miniaturized versions of both alchemical supplies, poisoners.
I mean,
kit,
I wasn't even there for that
spells,
session. That's
mortars,
the one you're
yada,
talking about. So
you can use this
Okay.
magic.
Oh, that's fine. It just means this happens now instead of back then. A fireball rings out. No, just kidding.
Wow, that was okay. That escalated quickly.
No, you before you leave the stone speaker, along with another stone giant who seems to be trailing behind him. Obviously, one of them has either woken up or he's woken them up to bring you to him. Meet you at the gates as you're preparing to leave, and the smaller stone giant seems to be carrying a crystal.
which gives you an advantage on investigation checks.
Yeah, a very long crystal, like an obelisk almost. And it's like 19 inches long, so it's not like a really small thing, but it's just this big shard of quartz. And the stone speaker will hand it to Caston. And he says, I thank you and your group for what you have done for this city. And for us. I give you this as a gift and also as a warning. Something evil is continuing to stir in the Underdark in the world above, and I pray this will help you fight it and along your journey. This is a crystal created by great stone giant librarians of the past. It is useful for determining what has been and what will be. If you present this to stone giants, they will know that you are a friend of the giants. And he gives it to you. Requires attunement. But yeah, this definitely feels like magical just in your hands. Like it's got that electric magical charge when you hold it.
Okay.
And he vows, and the other stone giant bows as well.
I return the bow. Thank you for this great gift. We will use it in aid, and we will return to help clear this land. This land, does that make sense for the Underdark? Clear.
I mean, it is a land. It's actually
Okay.
multiple nations. Even.
I was going to say, well, I mean, it's land, but it's Underdark, so is it like Underland or?
They get what you mean.
Yeah. Clear this land of the
Of all the evil drow that I mean,
dark demon incursions and invasions.
And Stone Speaker says, I know you will, so says my apprentice Dorhan. And Dorhan nods his head very slowly. He had a dream of what was to come. And they turn around and they leave. The Durgar look not like suspicious, but like, oh boy, prophets, hooray. But they seem to respect the giants. And the officer says, well, if that's it, if you have no more goodbyes, I guess we should be off.
And were you serious about the attunement?
Yes. We only
Okay.
post this.
Can I attune something when I'm already attuned to something else?
So you can have up to
multi-class
3
attune-
attunements.
Okay. I've never had more than one singular attunement of any item ever, so this is new ground for me.
Yeah. And obviously you don't have to be the one who uses if you don't want to, but you'll learn pretty quickly what this is. I'll go ahead and post the thing here.
I mean, frankly, as a magical item, this seems more like a Liam thing.
Here it is.
Hey, Cord, it's 19 inches long. It's too big to be a kyber crystal.
unless you have a really long
it is.
lightsaber.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
first giant, so who knows?
So a light greatsword.
So that's what it does, requires attunement. And the rest is pretty self-explanatory, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, now, actually, this is kind of funny. I think that would actually qualify for casting non-detection too, because non-detection takes a certain amount of material costs. I think it's a divination. I don't actually remember. All right. And we're off. So for the first time in quite a while, you finally leave Gracklestug.
We've been there for a really long time, in real
Yeah.
life as well as in lore.
Yes.
It's been the place in the Underdark you've stayed at the longest. And I want to say it's a month or almost even 2 that you've been here in lore. And as you leave the city, you can see that it looks quite a bit different from the outside than it did when you first approached it. Much more desolate. You can tell that the forges are not burning as brightly as they were. it's much quieter. But there is a more general air of contentness and happiness amongst the soldiery, at least as you go. It doesn't seem like everyone's on edge as much anymore. So maybe there is peace coming to this place at last. Who knows? There is one thing that I do need everybody to do as they leave this place, though.
Roll dodge.
Kind of. I do need you to roll something. I need everybody to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Oof.
Is it poison based?
No. Everyone just falls over dead.
Well,
Yeah.
That would be funny. We're finally out. Do you smell something? Nope. Thud.
Sarin gas what? 22.
22?
I also have a 22.
Okay.
10
10 total?
total.
Okay.
Ron's got 6 on the dice.
I don't remember what his bonus is. Let's see. Okay. No, that makes it a 9 then for him. All right. I just did Asha. So, Ront, Mark, and Asha. As you're leaving Gracklestug, you realize that your lungs have become accustomed to the smog-covered city there. And actually, as you're leaving, you start coughing a bit, as if you're now just like coughing out all the soot and dust. And you notice that there's, your like spittle is actually like flecked with like black streaks. So it seems that there is a side effect for staying in the city for too long, especially for non-residents. Let's see.
So you are the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. This doesn't matter right here because no one who failed is a spellcaster. But for the moment, those of you who failed do have a level of exhaustion. And what this means is
I'm gonna get in the cart.
yeah. Well, yeah,
Down for a minute.
this means that currently you have disadvantage on ability checks. And you just have this like racking cough which comes up occasionally, and one of the Durgar kind of laughs and says, "Don't worry, everyone gets grackle lung every now and then."
Oh, that sounds horrible,
Mhm.
even on its own. Crackle lung.
Yeah, I'm legitimately gonna go ahead and take it easy to try and recoup and
Oh.
not be exhausted when the inevitable dragon attacks us. So
Mhm.
with your guys' permission, I'm gonna chill in one of the carts. Just kind of
Yeah. Just Tassin, just from your medicinal knowledge, you think this is probably this is definitely not great, and they're going to need some R&R to get over this, or perhaps a greater restoration. Well, would a greater restoration help this? I actually don't know. Let's see. Ooh, interesting. So you believe that
What
it
about
would
a
help
weak
there.
sauce restoration?
lesser restoration?
Yeah.
Let's see. So there's some very specific things which cures this. Maybe make me a straight up medicine check. This.
Can I give him advantage on that?
Sure.
17 or 11. Yeah, I'll go with 17.
17. Okay. You think it probably would. It won't cure the. You think it'll cure the source, but the symptom will probably take some time to wear off. Maybe like with its current stage, probably a day or so. But if you hit them with a lesser restoration, that will probably at least stop the, for lack of a better term, disease for them.
Okay.
So you'll still be coughing up the black stuff for about a day, but after that, it should be fine. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that for Mark.
Okay.
And then actually I can cast it a couple times.
We just hit everybody.
Yep.
Okay. So it's 3 castings, and you can tell that, Mark, it does immediately feel a lot better after that, and now you just got to get all the stuff up. So you spend the rest of the day coughing up black Belgium and stuff as you get rid of the grackle lung, but thanks to the lesser restoration, it does not get worse. And after a good night's sleep, you do get up and find that you have returned to normal. So your exhaustion does not get worse and actually wears off with sleep.
I've been through worse. This reminds me just of my last Jim Dark Magic concert. Same problem.
Yeah, it was the Jim Dark Magic con crud.
After Tassin does his restoration, I'm going to make a couple of bandanas and cast prestidigitation on them. But instead of doing like the pleasant smell like I did when we first got here, I'm going to make them smell like the Gracklestug air.
Okay.
So it's a more natural transition to fresh air for them.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely takes the edge off. You know, it's not just jumping into cold water now. So it smells, you know, a little bit like a foundry, but you've gotten used to that over the past month or so. All right. After the first day, which is pretty uneventful, you pass a few caravans that are going slower than normal. Some of them have lost some wagon wheels in the scuffle to get out of the city. Like the path is just like trampled because there's been so much traffic. You can tell this will probably need some repairing and reordering at some point in time. But you know, people seem to have used it successfully, and it's not slowing down your cart either. Growlin is starting to come to a bit after resting for like about 2 or 3 days at this point. You know, and he's at least coming up to consciousness, and he seems like a bit surprised that he's suddenly in a brand new location in the Underdark. But he pretty quickly adjusts to it, and after getting some, you know, water and some nice food that's not just spoon fed to him while he's sleeping and such, he tells you, Tastin, privately that he is still trying. His head is still spinning. It's like, my head's still spinning, but I feel like for the first time I'm in a place where I'm not fearing for my life constantly. Please tell me how this happened. I have a feeling I've missed quite a bit.
Well,
and then we have like that scene in Return of the Jedi where 3PO kind of recites the movies for him
with sound effects.
Yeah, and all that sort of stuff.
Newt Vader.
Yes.
Yeah, basically just bring him up to speed, but also tell him, you know, we're going home.
He's listening very intently. You can tell like he starts to, but he has this like massive paranoid streak now. It seems like every so often, like he'll just like, you know, his head will just twist around behind him suddenly, like he's expecting something to be behind him. Like he seems to be watching the shadows for everything. So, you know, the story's interrupted several times, but he seems to be listening very intently to it. When after all is said and done, he says to you that is quite a tale. It seems that Kellamfor put you on a path as well to help people in the Underdark and to, strangely enough, find me. I couldn't have imagined that we would meet again like this, but here we are. We would meet again at all. Because let me tell you what happened to me.
Oh, I also tell him, like, I go over pretty succinctly the whole section about the message he sent me.
Says, yes, I remember that. And you recite the message to him, and he says, he chuckles a bit and says, I think I must have still been learning how to write that at that point in time, because that's not exactly what I intended for it to say, but I think you got the gist of it. Let me back off a bit, because that happens much further into my imprisonment. This is as I'm sure you know, I fell into a portal into the abyss as we were fighting the Lich. You know that part.
Yeah.
What you may not know is that this led directly to a place that I learned later was called the Demon Webb Pits, a terrible, cursed place of Loth. The Lich had not joined me, thankfully. I learned later on that he had been recruited or joined forces with Orcus, but that's secondhand knowledge, and I really know nothing more other than that. But I fled the scene when that happened. I was in, it's a terrible place. It's just a dead land. There's nothing but rocks and ledges and chasms, which are just bottomless. I know I dropped the torch down one and I could not see it drop and hit the ground. There was just a constant madness of the place, which was just instantly apparent to me. Instantly. And I knew that I had to have to just steel my mind and pray to Kalimvor to even make it out with my sanity, let alone make it out alive. With not much else to do, I had my torch, my holy symbol, my sword, my armor, and I went into the darkness for what seemed like days and days. I still don't really know how long it was. I slept in petrified husks of giant spiders. I rationed what little water and food I had. When that ran out, I tried to find what I could, but there's no natural food there. The only thing I could really find was spiders, and I slew them, and they tasted like death. I actually had to lay on hands myself to cure myself of poison every time I ate.
Oh,
Still didn't help the taste, but it kept me alive. And as I expended energy, I found that more and more I could not call on my spells to help me along. My connection seemed to be weakening and weakening. I did perhaps foolishly think I could reach someone friendly. I'd heard that there was a portion of the Demon Webb Pits long ago that belonged to Elistray. I learned now that's no longer true, but that was part of the hope that kept me going through there. Eventually, I don't know how long it was, maybe weeks, maybe days, I don't know. I was, to put a long story short, captured. Yaklos, servants of Loth, sickly, greenish, yellow creatures, and you realize he's describing like one of those demons that you've seen before. Found me, and I fought them for just a few seconds before they put me under a spell of domination. And there were times when I went in and out of consciousness. There was, I won't speak of it much. There was torture. There was probing my mind, and I came to be under their service unwillingly, for they had much use for a paladin, one who could still, in some moments, call upon his deity. I did have brief moments of resistance, which grew and grew as I learned to resist, but they knew that would happen, and they kept me restrained, webbed, whatever they could during that time. I fear that I did lead some of Loth's demons to march in other planes of the abyss, not as part of an army, but for more covert operations. They seem to be scouting out locations in other realms, establishing outposts, inserting agents and scouts. I don't know what the ultimate plan is of Lolth. You have to understand that the plans of Lolth and her followers are at the same time chaotic and at the same time organized. I couldn't really trust what I heard half the time when I was conscious to hear it. But I think that perhaps she is hoping to ride in the wake of the demon lords that are currently assaulting, I guess, the Underdark, now that you've told me this, and other places, and try to carve out a place for her own on the material plane after they do the heavy lifting, so to speak. That's what I think. Which brings me to the holy symbol. This is, perhaps intervention of Kalimvor, but I was in the middle of a battle. I remember this very well on a plane, and your drow friend, you can see like the massive air quotes that he puts there.
Yeah.
Emerged from the very portal that you described, and she sought out to fight me, whether it was through like chance or compulsion, I don't know. She seemed to be half insane at that time, and she was no match for me, and I rendered her unconscious. And during our fight, she cast some spell on me that I don't know if it was intentional or not, but she dispelled my spell of domination for that time. And so my mind was my own for a bit. I didn't know what else to do. I knew I would be recaptured very soon. They would knew that it had been dispelled for me. So I took my holy symbol, wrote what I could in there. I was learning Thieves' Cant, by the way, when I was there. It's very common amongst agents of Lolth. And I can teach you if you want. And I sent her through a portal. I lied to the demon manning it, telling her that she was a follower of Lolth who was going back to material plane to continue her mission. And you've told me the rest of the story at that point in time. And I was recaptured and redominated shortly afterwards. But it seems to be either a stroke of luck or the will of Kalimvor that she found her way to you and delivered that admittedly somewhat cryptic message. But I was admittedly under a lot of stress, so I did the first thing I could think of.
Sure.
And then the rest of the story is pretty much the same. Going from plane to plane, trying to lock down certain locations for Lolth to insert agents there. They were doing some things with carrying eggs of Lolth through portals and leaving them there, but I never stayed for too long, so I don't know ultimately what became of those. I just know that she has them throughout the various planes and then some areas of the material plane now.
Is that what you were placing in the crypt where Merrick found you?
I never personally, I assume so, yes. I never personally handled or got close to any of them. They seem to be much too important for me to be near them.
Okay.
The only ones who could handle them seem to be very trusted servants of Lolth or her handmaidens.
Okay. When he says eggs of Lolth, does that trigger anything from, like, would I have a general knowledge, or would I need to roll religion to understand what that implication means? Because I actually don't know what that means.
Yeah, well, I mean, aside from the actual
bad.
physical thing, you can roll an intelligence religion check, yes.
Okay. I get the concept of, like, that's probably not the best thing to be just throwing out everywhere on every plane you go to, but
Right.
$17.
Okay. So, I mean, you've kind of heard about this before, though you don't really know any details. This is generally just a way for Lolth to spread, for lack of a better term, her children. to other locations. Now, generally bad, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
And it does refer to like actual physical eggs. Now, these are literally eggs taken from Lolth from demon web pits to spread to other locations to corrupt it and spread her influence.
Okay. So it's like the Zerg creep.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
But he says they serve for some more time. I suspect that time passed a little bit differently for me, depending on the plane I was in. Based on what you've told me, I was likely under their sway for much more time than you've taken going from the portal to now. But I really have no way of knowing, to be honest. And then the rest is, as you know, you found me, or rather, your dwarf friend found me, I should say. And I have to admit, I was not in my right mind at that time, but I was able to resist as much as I could, and well, put it bluntly, forced myself to unconsciousness, so I would not resist if you freed me.
Okay.
I'll be very glad to see the surface again. And he just seems like even just like exhausted after just saying that much. And he kind of slumped down.
Yeah. Just rest and gather your strength. We'll be back to Father Bento pretty soon.
I will. And he just kind of leans back and shuts his eyes as he leans against the cart.
Now, I probably don't have to say this, but I'm just saying we need to kill your brother. Okay, no.
Wow.
Listen, I'm getting a bad vibe. No,
Straight
for
to
real. I do wanted to give him a very clear demon sight once over, just to be 100% sure, just to be really sure. And also, my demon senses are always going because I want to know if we're passing any locuses as usual. But that's the main thing. I want to double check on him.
Okay. He seems to be, as far as you can tell, human and fine. No one around the party or in the group seems to really have anything demon related, as far as you can tell.
Okay, just making 100% sure. I will relay this to Taston. I've been checking on him periodically just to be sure, and so far it's good signs. So
it's definitely a stark difference from when you first saw him after you took him out. I think multiple restorations and time spent and getting out of the armor and all that sort of stuff has probably helped quite immensely. Although he still has levels of exhaustion, so that is what that is.
That's I
was gonna say, not that you have to tell me, but in gameplay terms, how many levels of exhaustion did he have?
All of them.
Yeah, well, he didn't have 6 because otherwise he'd be dead. But
so he had 5.
He actually had 4, but
Jesus,
yeah,
that's actually insane to have 4 levels of exhaustion at the same time. Most people in real life have never experienced that. For viewers at home, for a bit of perspective.
So the way exhaustion works is like there's 6 levels of it, right? And this is kind of a viewer and plus player if you didn't know. The first one, which I guess you've experienced yesterday, is exhaustion level 1, which is disadvantage on ability checks. The second one is your speed is halved. The third one is you get disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. The fourth one is your hit point maximum is halved.
Oof.
The fifth one is your speed is reduced to 0. And your sixth one is you are dead.
Straight up dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and finishing a long rest does reduce it automatically by 1, provided you're also getting food and drink, which is why it's important to be by the bedside of someone who really can't do that by themselves. So you're not just going to sit there and lay there for 8 hours and be fine.
Need a nap. Good.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's nasty. It is not something to be taken lightly. Not a lot of stuff give you exhaustion, but when it does, it's bad. Oh, yeah, it's funny. So, funny note is that before they did an errata for this, they didn't have this clause that said also being raised from the dead reduces a creature's exhaustion level by 0. So if you led this literally, you could die from exhaustion to get immediately raised and then just fall down and die again.
Well, that's just mean.
Yeah, and obviously that wasn't intended.
Yeah. I brought him back. He's dead again.
I'm
Right.
that thug.
He stands up and just ragdolls down.
Yeah. And then we're back at Weekend at Bernie's.
Yep.
I got
So-
that.
Yeah. Not really.
Yeah, but the Raising Greater Restoration also helps is that it does on a casting remove a level of exhaustion.
Oh.
So he's basically recovering twice as fast for exhaustion as he would have otherwise. Which actually, I guess he would be back up to full at this point in time if you're casting Greater Restoration. So he's pretty well on the road to recovery.
Cool.
Okay. So you continue along for several more days, eating some decent food before you have to finally start digging into the rations because you don't want to let it go for too long. It's at least decent stuff. It's not the banquet that you're used to in the Deep King's Palace, but you're not sitting there eating a bunch of fungus that you've harvested off the side of the road, right?
Sorry,
Dirty
Liam.
looks from stool.
Like and
Oof.
You do see, for I guess the first time in a little bit since you've emerged from the tunnels, like traces and wisps of Phaserus that just streak along tunnels as you're going by them. And something that's different about this now is that it seems to almost be moving slowly. Like usually it was just stuck in place, but this almost seems to be traveling like a very, very slow stream above you. And it's
Odd.
fairly bright too. Like if the mushrooms and the lamps along the way aren't giving any light, the Phaserus is. So light's really not an issue as you're going through here. Not that it generally would be anyway. But
Is anyone else worried about that?
Yeah. As a spellcaster,
a little bit.
considering how well it went last time, we just decided to say, we'll do it anyway.
It'll be fine. It'll be
yeah, I mean, it's not to the point where it's actually like around you. Like it would be like, oh, I'm interfering with spell casting. Although you suspect that, I guess, especially Liam, based on your previous knowledge, that like wisp every now and then probably would interfere if you're trying to like divine or teleport out of here or something like that. Right? So basically something that places you on the other side of the Phaserus or target something on the other side of it. But if you're just like, prestidigitation or here's a cure wounds or something, you're probably okay.
Okay. How's Asha been doing this whole time?
Oh, she seems to be okay, and she has actually told you that she has not heard a. And you kind of have to prod her for this because she doesn't seem to be
Come on.
really volunteering the information. But you do get out of her that she has not heard anything for days ever since she was in Gracklestug.
Aha! We figured it out. Okay.
So you realize that that does mean it wasn't Lolth that was communicating with you.
She says, well, it could have been a proxy or something of that sort. You can tell that she doesn't, she's just making excuses, but one of those people who doesn't want to admit that she's wrong. So she's kind of like, half pouting, half maybe grateful, who knows.
Okay.
Although she is keeping like well hidden in her cloak because you still have some Durgar escorts with you. So go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, as we're traveling, I'm going to ask the Durgar escorts who might know more about the region, like, is Phaserus at this particular congestion like normal? Like, it looks like it's much more condensed than I've ever seen it before. Not being from the area, being a surface dweller, I'm not very familiar with phasers.
So one of the Durgar soldiers says, I've been down this road many a times in my life, years and years, and I have to say I've never seen phasers down here. It seems to be new.
Okay.
Which can be a problem.
Yeah.
Because we generally had mapped out, I mean, you have to understand, phasers usually does not move. So this really sucks for map making, I tell you that.
Yes,
Only
map
imagine.
making. Yeah.
So after about the fourth day of traveling, they take a... Go ahead.
So I also want to ask Asha, realize that we're headed for the surface. Do
She
you
says-
have a plan?
She says, my plan currently is to keep out of the reach of any drow who wish to kill me. I cannot go back to Menzoberranzan. I cannot go anywhere. My only hope, as much as I hate to say this, is to bide my time above the surface and pray for Loth to grant me her favor once again.
Now, I hear there's this group that's hiring. They're called Acquisitions Incorporated.
I've never heard of this group.
Well, let me tell you about them. And I tell her just, I make up every, I'm not even going to try to roll because I'm not trying to successfully deceive her. I'm just telling her all these totally nonsense made up stories about all the stuff that Jim Dark Magic has been doing and possibly the
Oh,
others.
she does not seem
False
impressed.
tales.
Yeah. Oh, you don't even stand. This one time, like they got into a house which actually teleported to other dimensions. It was so cool.
Is Jim Dark Magic a drow?
He's like a drow. Actually, no, honestly, what's the name of the bald guy's character? I can't think of it.
I don't remember.
Omen.
Omen Drawn. He's much more like a drow. You'd like him.
But he's not a drow.
No, he's not a drow, but he really is like him. I'm not actually making that up. He's
The only honest thing you've told.
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one snippet of no, really. He's kind of a drow kind of a dude.
Well, he sounds cutthroat and backstabbing and business minded, which is good. But
yep, that's him. That's him.
Unfortunately, he seems to have been born a half elf and not a drow.
Well, I mean, we can't help what we're born as, right? We can only help what we choose to be. So
Sure.
But going back to my conversation with Asha, I was more referring to living on the surface. There's going to be sunlight. Are you
I know.
prepared?
No. One can never be truly prepared for the sunlight. But in my exile, until I regain the favor of Loth, I have no choice. It's not unprecedented, you understand. In our history, there are priestesses who have lost their power before and have had to undertake a trial of Loth to simply survive. And if they could endure it, they were granted the favor once again, and they could return to the Underdark.
Just making sure you're keeping the challenges in mind of being exposed to the surface. If there's something that you need in order to survive, let us know.
I appreciate it, but as Loth would dictate in her trials, accepting generosity is weakness.
Very well.
Besides, I have been through worse trials before. There is one trial that I remember very, not fondly, but one of the first trials that priestesses undertake a test of Loth. You're put in a room completely dark. Your sight does not work at all, no matter if you are a drow. And you feel the touch of spiders running over you constantly, and you must not move or they will bite you and kill you. And there you remain for an hour. Only those who are truly of the faith of Loth can pass this test. And I did, of course. Sloth has such wonderful tests.
Changed my mind. Let's kill her, guys.
What was there a box you put your hand in and
Right.
If you move, you are not
Yeah.
the queen on top.
I'd swear that's not taken for that. That's a real test.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, no, the whole.
But no,
I was
yes.
trying to think of which one's worse.
Yes, while we were in there, we repeat fear is the mind killer. No.
Actually, with the whole sunlight thing, Mark, you'll probably want to find a way to contain the cloak you have. Otherwise, it'll be destroyed.
Well, that's a really good point. I assume I could just get it in my backpack and sufficiently wrap it up so it's not going to vanish the moment we get the surface.
Yeah, as long as it's in your backpack, yes.
I mean, obviously, it's not part of my usable equipment right now, but I assume I don't, unless something specific happens, like my GM throws the sun at me, which I mean, that's happened before.
Wait,
I
what?
should be able to keep it hidden, right?
Yeah, that seems like an extreme thing.
Well, I mean, it's coming at you. It's behind Guido right now.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
but, like,
Guido, I
not
need you to
bad.
no move. Yeah, there goes the cloak. There
It's
goes.
too close.
Your cloak dissipates.
Damn it. No, yeah, I'm keeping it nice and hidden. I meant to ask something, by the way. This is an odd time to bring this up, but it didn't really matter really until now. Do I have visible signs of being part demon at the moment?
Not unless you use one of your abilities or something like that.
Cool.
Just glowing red eyes. Why do you ask?
Yeah, I mean, I've played Star Wars. I know how this works. You know, I just want to make sure I
Yeah.
don't have the red
Over
eyes
time.
right now.
Yeah.
No, that glowing eyes happen when you use your special sight, but
Okay.
Dark waves flowing off of you.
Yeah, just.
Hey, hold on, let me look at you.
I walk into a priesthood of Calamor. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
No.
here.
Don't mind him. He's fine.
Yeah, everything's cool.
Yeah. So speaking of this, and as you know, like surface conversations are happening, Stool will actually like go over there and like start bumping against you, Mark. And you know this is kind of the sign of I want to talk to you.
Well,
He's learned not to just poof spores in everybody's face.
for
whenever he wants to.
humor's sake, I'd love to ignore him for a minute, but I'm not that much of a dick. So what's up? What's up? Tell me out.
So he says, well, I can't help but overhear that you're going to the surface. Is that right?
That's the current plan. I mean, it's a temporary thing, but yeah, we still need to head to, I forget the name of the place in order to help you and your people out. So
Right. Well, that's what I was about to bring up because I may be a young Myconid, but there is one thing I know. Myconids can't survive on the surface.
at all? Wow.
No. We die.
So it's okay. I'll put you in my backpack. I'll put in some like rotting meat and
need a
some
bigger
like dying
backpack.
fish.
That sounds like a terrible existence.
Listen, it's perfect for a fungus growth, right? Oh no, there you go. I'll put some cheese and some bread in there. Perfect.
Oh,
And you can just
well,
subsist off
The
of
cheese, maybe, but
As much as I'd like to come with you, I just don't think me and Rumpadump would really do well up on the surface.
that. Right. All right. So I mean, if you want to split up, that's terrible, but I'm not. I like the power to stop you. And more to the point, what I want to know is how are we going to get a hold of you? Because we are coming back down, and helping you is like one of the next things on our agenda.
well, me and Rumpadump do think we can find our way back to the Neverlight Grove colony. So we'll start there, and it's going to take us a while.
So how do we get to that colony? Give us some very detailed directions.
maybe not going straight back
well,
to the colony.
You kind of like get this mental image of just like a direction, and you get the feeling that he really doesn't know, like, quote unquote, the way. Just it can follow like kind of almost the spore network. It doesn't really have a way to tell you.
Is anyone else involved in this conversation, or is it just Mark and?
If you look, you'll notice me going to yeah. So I'm not trying to be circumspect.
It can spore everybody else if you want to get it. Like he can do it a couple times a day. So if everybody's like, "What's Stool saying?" Goes joins you in.
Stool wants to go commit suicide.
That's
No,
not bad.
that's not what I said.
That's 100% what you said. So we've got all kinds of problems with that. So here's my thinking. Stool, if we chop you in half,
Wait, what?
I'll die.
there'll be two of you. That's how fungus grows, right? Like it just
No.
It's not.
I mean, yes, but no, I won't be.
It
stooling
is. It
longer.
is. That's how you bud, and then the new bud becomes a new person. I know this.
Well, I
stuff.
say yes, but I won't be stooling longer.
That's a
It'll be
good point.
Stu and Ool.
Oh God, no, it'll be just St. That's his name.
Yeah.
Is St.
My memories will go into the great Mycadid network.
No. We are not going to teleport across the galaxy instantly. All right, listen.
So how about having you and Rumpadump go back to Gracklestug, not to the Grove, because if you go back to the Grove, you're going to get influenced by the demon there.
You know what? Hold up. Okay, so 2 days ago, we had this conversation with Spool, right?
I mean, you're having it about the time when you talk with Asha.
But 2 days ago, we had this conversation. If you listen, I'll buy you Mexican food next time we interact.
Sure.
No, my honest thinking, but this is on me. It didn't even occur to me that Mycanids couldn't live on the surface. And it also didn't occur to me. I keep thinking this is a quick trip, but we might be up here in an unknown period of time. So in the interest of fairness, we probably asked him to just stay at our place that we own in Gracklestug, right?
If given the option, yeah, that seems like a place that's there. We know where to find him, and he's not at the night. I keep wanting to say the Nightmare Grove.
Yes, I mean,
Grove.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. Come on.
So here's my thinking. If we've been planning a trip to the surface
for several days,
and for several days before we left, I'm sure Stool would have had this conversation with us before we left, telling us, I can't live on the surface.
Now, Stool might not.
It's not too
depends
bright.
on the intelligence level. Yeah,
but we might have thought of it on our own. Again, it just honestly didn't occur to me, the player. So
this player didn't know.
Now that makes
I mean,
if you want to penalize,
I didn't even know that was
super
fine.
fair because that's not a well-known thing, right?
So it's possible we don't know, but even if we don't know, even if we're having this conversation now, which is fine, go back to Gracklestug.
Or is there anything ahead of us on this road that's, if one path leads to the surface, where does the other path lead to?
Well, they did say they were going to outposts to check on the status. So if there's an outpost on the way, we can have them stop there and okay, this outpost isn't on fire, so you can stay here. We'll go do our thing. We'll come back, pick you up on the way back to Gracklestug.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Okay. So hang with us until we get to the outpost.
Now, if the outpost is on fire, we'll have to reassess.
Yeah, there are other options. If we run into a dragon on the way, which we're totally going to, then we'll deal with that when we get there. Whoa.
Well, he's loading the dragon map. Hold on.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
Got it.
It's just every square inch is a dragon.
So now every 5 foot square represents a separate dragon. To be clear, they all have their own stats and HP blocks.
No. Okay. So they're hanging with you. Now that all this talk about the surface is happening, and Ron's like, well, what should Ron do when he gets to the surface? I've never thought about this before.
Have you ever been to the surface, Ron?
That was from the surface, yes. I have a proud clan in the spine of the world. Maybe I go back there now when I get on the surface, become chieftain. I think I can take current chieftain.
So hang on.
Since you took a dragon, chances are good.
I mean, do we want to let Ron go? Is what that sounds like.
My thought is that Ron's his own orc, I guess, is the way I might put that. And, if that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, Godspeed, Ron. Do what you got to do.
Well, Ron have hunting group now, but Ron also wanted to go back to tribe too. And that's where I spend most of my life. Plus, I think I can beat up everybody there. It'll be great. Cotton.
I mean, that's true.
Really
You can't beat up
strong.
anybody here, so it'll be a nice change of pace.
No, I think I can beat up a lot of people around here too.
Well, I mean, not us though, right?
But Ron, do you want to see?
Yeah, let's do it. And I destroy him in one round. Just absolutely demolish him.
You just leave. You just see him on the side of the road.
Well, Ron, have fun.
Well, that happened.
Not the best idea ever.
Yeah, no.
No, he thinks for a while, and he says, "I think when I go to surface, yes, I will go back to Spine of World and find clan, find chieftain, and punch his face in and become new chieftain.
You will be
Remember the
missed.
lessons of the
And
shaman.
then there will be big plan, big war cry, and we will say all drow must die because drow kidnapped me, and so all drow must die."
Kind of glance over at Ausha. I'm like, okay.
You see like the cloak just shaking back and forth. You kind of think like it doesn't even like reach his mind that there's literally a drow right there. You just declared war on all drow.
Yeah, it's like
It's like so
read the room, buddy. Read the room.
Um,
You will
Clavicle
be
says,
missed.
"Oh no, hey, you can come and visit me in tribe, and well, where you stay. We have your tribe.
I'm not sure your tribe would appreciate a half orc.
Previous chieftain, no. If you can become part of the tribe if I'm chieftain. It's fine.
Better generous of you.
You can be my magic advisor."
Yeah, that's fair.
Pretty sure they'd kill a dwarf on sight too. So
Yeah.
No.
it's probably not gonna
You
go so
can.
well.
We will kill all the dwarves except you.
thank you for that consideration.
Mm-hmm. And dwarves try to take our land all the time, and we try to take their land. Dwarves have really good trinkets.
Did you say dwarves have or make really good trinkets?
They have. Do they make them too? I guess they do.
That was the player asking.
Oh, it says have.
Okay. Oh, look, it's a dwarf. It's a trinket.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. That seems to be the decision. Glabagol just is like, well, since there's all this talk about what we'll do in the overworld,
Please
guess
stay
I'll-
with us, Clavicle. Please stay
well,
with us.
I don't have anywhere to go aside from with you. I want to see the world up there. I've never been to the above surface world.
I have no idea what's going to happen, but sure,
Right.
that seems like a viable plan.
What could go
Brent-
wrong?
I know, right?
Brent says maybe we should try and find my master when we get to the surface. I'm a bit worried. I know everyone's talking about returning home. I'm a bit worried about what may be going on. But we there's no use in just sitting here for days worrying. Dawnbreaker says, "I will be so glad to see the actual sun once again." Even though I can't technically see, but still.
You probably still sense the sun.
Oh, yes. All right. So a couple days later, you go off from the main path onto a more side road, and you leave actually pretty much all of the merchant traffic behind. They seem to be going through like a different route going somewhere else. The Duragar officer says, so we will be passing outpost in about a day's time. We will check in with them, and then from 2 days there, we will be at the place which goes up to the surface world. Please, I ask you, do not tell anyone else about this. It is Duragar route, not trade route, not anything like that. If we have traders come down, we will kill them. But you can go out. You have permission. As long as you present your papers when you go down, the outpost will not kill you.
Out of curiosity, do we
Okay.
all have papers or just Liam?
No, we
No,
all
I
do.
think
now.
we all do now.
Making
Not just
sure.
Liam.
Making
Yeah.
sure.
All three of you and Rod. So
So when he comes back for the drow, he'll be able to get past the outpost with no problem.
This is like the I'm a Roman citizen thing. He's a Roman citizen. Whoops. All right. Now let's see if this thing will load. It does. Okay.
Ta-da.
So you come upon the outpost. It pretty quickly becomes apparent that this place has been attacked. Probably quite some time ago. The buildings are blown up. They're all smashed. There are trails all over the place. Mark, you have just a lingering scent of demons here. Like there was some that passed by not too long ago. But, go ahead and make me actually an advantaged perception check. Because this is against demon stuff.
But that's advantage because my first roll was a 4. My second roll is going to end up being a 19.
19. Okay. So you see amongst the steps all over the place, and there was obviously like a fight which took place here. You see like the organized formations of the Duragar that were standing in their shield walls, and in front of them, amongst all the chaos, there are very like large footprints that Mark you instantly recognize as demonic in nature. Probably some like larger foot soldiers like Hezro or something like that, which are those large spiny soldiers that you saw actually back in Thanatos. Liam, just thanks to your passive investigation, you can tell that there probably was number one, not really a lot of spell casting which took place here. Is like pretty much purely physical.
Okay.
So all this destruction was caused by large like physical damage, not somebody blowing up with fireballs and stuff. So something was literally strong enough or big enough to like tear sections out of these buildings. One thing you'll also notice that there's a suspicious lack of corpses around here. Like you see like blood stains and all sorts of stuff around here, but there's like no Durgar corpses like in sight when you come up. And Tass, you can just tell that from the blood splatters and stuff all around here that somebody was hitting other things, probably Durgar, from the looks of like the color of the dried blood, very, very hard, like hard enough to like have like impacts on the walls and to hit so hard that there's just like blood and stuff that went everywhere. It looked like an absolute massacre. And when the Durgars see this, they just immediately drop their casual mannerisms and immediately go into a formation side by side and stop. And the officer looks at them and looks over this place and looks back at everyone and says, "Well, this is unfortunately worse than I feared. We had lost contact with this place, and it seems we have found the reason for this. We will have to conduct an investigation here momentarily. So I would ask that you please wait for a bit while we look around."
Absolutely.
May I ask that those of you who are able and fighting to come with us?
I'm assuming that's going to be all three of us.
Inrod. Actually, Bren will step up, grab a goal just because he doesn't know any better. Will be like, "Oh, me too."
Ron, you go ahead and stay with Cuillin.
You sure?
Yes.
A big axe?
And he will need protection since he cannot protect himself.
Okay.
Glabagul and Stool should probably stay as well.
They will be a mighty fighting force.
Aye.
Well, Bren will come if you'll allow him. He's like down on the floor, and you can tell his nose is crinkled up. Mark, you can tell he's kind of smelling the same thing that you are. And he gives you as wary of a look that a dog can.
I scratch behind his ears.
He looks still mad, but his back leg just goes. Stop.
Damn it, human.
Okay. So yeah, the Duragar start moving it around very cautiously, and they're kind of in like a ball formation or a U formation almost, where they're expecting something to jump out. And they're going very slowly. They go through the first section over here, and they start collecting what seems to be like notes and reports. And they look over it, the stuff that's not destroyed. And they don't seem to find what they're looking for. They keep looking over and over throughout the different buildings until they come at last to one which is more intact. And oh, yep, that's it. And when they open it up, you find where all the bodies have gone. They seem to have been collected in here. And there are a lot of abyssal glyphs on the walls. They are, and this is a symbol you've seen before, they are obviously symbols of Demogorgon. It seems like there were some profane rituals conducted in here, which involved the Duragar. If you'd like, you can roll an intelligence religion check on this place.
Is that for all of us, or
Yeah, everybody can do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's demonic. It might have something to do with Demogorgon.
15.
15. All right. Liam?
17.
17. Okay. So both of you, I'm guessing, Mark, you just rolled like super low, unfortunately. Which makes sense. This is a little more towards the arcane ritual type stuff. This is, go ahead, Liam.
Mark, don't you read, write, understand Abyssal?
Abyssal, yeah.
Well, these aren't actual words. These are like ritual symbols and stuff. Yeah.
I start reciting it out loud for you.
No, that's the summoning
The
spell.
building begins glowing. Actually, you're exactly right. It is summoning, and you realize pretty quickly that these Duragar plus their blood were used for conjuration and summoning spells of the demonic variant.
Yeah.
So it seems like what had happened is this outpost had been raided, and the Duragar had been collected to use in summoning more reinforcements. This is not atypical, but for this to happen on such a large scale is really bad, and means that there's something probably really powerful, or many of them, which could do this type of thing.
Is there enough of a body left to be able to use speak to the dead?
Yeah.
Yes. Or are they okay? Because I want to see can they say what was summoned?
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely some. I mean, a lot of them look like they just got wrecked or smashed, but there's enough in here that you can find one that has an intact mouth.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to use Kelmvor's Votary. And
okay, we've got a speaker then going. Okay, so Teston, do you want to explain how this spell works?
So as you can cast Speak with the Dead with this trait requiring no material components. Once you cast the spell in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability for this spell.
Okay. So Speak with the Dead. So what this does is you can ask the corpse up to 5 questions. There's a couple of stipulations. First is it only knows what it knew in life, so you can't ask it to speculate on future events. The answers can be brief or cryptic, and it's really under no magical compulsion to tell you the truth. If you raise it up and it recognizes that you're a sworn enemy or something like that. It's also not its actual soul or spirit or anything like that. So you're actually not returning the physical creature to it. So no new information, can't speculate, can't really even say anything about what's happened since it's died.
Okay. Just up to the moment of.
Right. So if you're where do you think they went? It literally does not know.
Right.
You can't speculate. Okay. And this takes an action to cast. It lasts 10 minutes. And if you want to confer with what you want to talk with it about, then go ahead. You get 5 questions.
Okay, so who attacked the outpost?
Okay.
What did they
And if you want to, yeah, and if you want to, you can do it one by one if follow-ups are needed depending on the answer.
So can I like discuss it with the group before actually officially asking a question of it?
Yeah, just keep in mind that once you cast and start asking it, it's got 10-minute duration.
Right. Okay.
So you can take however long you want to before the first one, but it starts ticking as soon as you cast it.
Okay. What do you guys? What else do you guys think I should ask?
So it was who attacked the outpost? What was the other one?
Yep. What did they want?
Where did they go?
I'll try, but that may
unlikely to be answered.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way it would be answered is if they said something about it, which I guess would kind of go under. What were they?
You can certainly ask it if you just may not know.
Yeah.
If they don't know, does it count as a question asked?
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, those seem like the 3 pertinent questions.
Let's see what they respond with. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. See, you cast Speak with Dead on one of the corpses, and you see it give a jolt, glow a little bit green, and as part of this, you kind of have to, use your holy symbol or burn incense, and you see it kind of breathe in some of that smoke, this incense, and which seems to grant it some sort of life. And the corpse's head just kind of like sits up, and you see its mouth open, and you know that the spell is active and it is listening.
Okay. Who attacked the outpost?
It says, and it opens its mouth to like speak, but you can tell it's not really forming the words. It's almost just like being animated out of its mouth, like something else is talking. It's a little echoey and hollow. And it says, I was attacked by demons, very, very large demons with red skin, spikes, horns. They were led by one that I had not seen before. But there were many. The leader seemed to be some sort of crab and lion and lizard. I do not know what it was. They spoke in a language I could not understand, and they overcame us quickly. I was killed by a pincher.
What did they want?
They wanted us. They wanted our blood, our bodies. They wanted destruction. They demanded nothing, and they took nothing other than our corpses.
Should I try to ask who did they summon? Or what did they summon?
Worth a try.
Okay. What did they summon?
I do not know of what you talk about. I do not know what you speak about.
Yep, post-death. Fantastic. Where did they enter from?
They did not enter from a location. They appeared amongst us. There was a portal which opened, and they spilled out. It opened It opened near the storage in the center of the outpost.
Well, we got one question left. Ask his favorite pizza topping.
Lore, what do you think?
I'm trying to narrow it down a bit because that sounds a lot like what happened was someone or something actually pulled them in here, right? And I'm trying to think if there's anything he would have known to be able to process that prior to dying. It sounds like no, maybe. We could ask, for example, if the phase wrist was getting worse prior to his death, right? That's something he would have noticed. Or if there was any signs of sabotage or infiltration. Were there any demon cultists that they had caught recently? These are all good, things we can go after, but none of them are really guaranteed to get an answer. So it's kind of up to you which one do you want to go with.
The phasers,
yeah.
While somewhat off topic, I think the phasers might be a good follow-up question, considering that seems to be getting worse. Like, if maybe it's related. So I'll ask: Has the phasers recently gotten worse in the area?
Yes, over the past weeks, the phaser has entered the outpost when previously there was none, and it grew ever brighter and ever larger by the day.
Okay.
And with that, which I believe is the fifth question, the head slumps over, and you see the incense just kind of waft out of it and disappear into the air.
I will relay what little we know to the guards.
Oh yeah, they were listening.
Okay, I want to make sure.
Yeah. And the officer seems to think for a minute, and he says, "So we are bound to take you the rest of the way, which is just a day or so ahead, and then you can go back up to the surface. We know what has happened here, and we will have to report back to Gracklestog. And let them know. There is not much else I see we can do here without a specialist."
Do we want to investigate the
Actually,
storage room, or do we want to get out of here?
This was a long ago attack, right?
It looks kind of like it, but if you'd like, you can roll either wisdom survival or intelligence investigation on this place.
If only we had someone present who was attuned to an item who gives them an advantage on investigation rolls. Alas.
Or that can show us what was and what could be. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
It's just impossible to do such an insane, and that's just a thought. I rolled decently, but I don't remember if I get any bonuses for this because of the whole demon thing. I don't know if that counts.
I would say it would, because a lot of this has to do specifically with demons.
Okay, so
if it's a survival check.
Second roll is much higher. That's a 21.
Okay. You estimate this probably happened roughly a week ago. So this, so shortly before you left.
Yeah, that's...
And I will say with that, you do see that the demons did leave not in the same direction that the officer is indicating, further into the Underdark.
That was actually my next question: is can we at least track a vague direction? Because I guess what I really want to know is not only where they're going, but how subtle they're trying to be about it.
They're not being subtle at all.
Yeah.
Rampage, got it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like the officer and the Durgar are taking inventory of this place, and it's not that, as far as you can tell, the demons took anything. It's more they just destroyed everything. Like there's literally valuable things that just got destroyed around here. They don't seem to have really like nabbed everything. Like everything's accounted for. It's just in pieces.
Well, I don't think we should leave Stool and Rumpet up here. That seems like
Yeah,
a good idea.
no.
We're fine. There's mushrooms here. See?
That's yeah. There are.
No.
That's a true statement.
I mean, at least they'd have something to feed on while they're, waiting for us to come back.
Dark, but true.
You can just stay very, very still and not move.
Stool says that as he bounces back and forth. I like to think that's what actually happens. We can stay still. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Stool. What?
Rub it up breaks into some sick breakdancing moves.
Yeah.
It's rumpet. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, this is.
I mean, you've seen them just like sit there before, so it's not like something they can't do.
Yeah. Really? Now? The loud bass from my next door neighbor has been a thing for the last several days. But and I just kind of have to put up with it during the day. But there's this thing called, quiet hours or whatever it's actually probably called.
Noise ordinance.
Which we're absolutely in right now. So that's why I was like, now, really?
Doom, 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 doom.
Yeah, I can just hear the bass really loud. All right. Guards. Wonderful. Amazing guards. I didn't learn your name. Don't tell me. Don't care.
Well, I'm Dave,
So
and
as
I'm
I was
retiring
saying,
tomorrow.
No,
We're all retiring tomorrow.
Oh no.
There we go. Broke his neck on early, just to make sure. You're heading back to Stug, right?
After this, yes.
Could we impose upon you and ask you to escort our little fungal friends back to Stug? I mean, I turned to Stool. You can find our house, right? Could you escort them to 555 Fake Street, please?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we know that. That's right next door, actually.
The third one on the left.
Yeah, third. That's the one. That's the one.
Actually, I want to see what their site is like. Oh, okay. No, yeah, he could find it. It's like, yeah, I remember where this is.
Okay,
It just takes me a long time to get there.
That's, you know what? We don't know how long we're going to be on the surface, but if you guards, please, could I know they're please.
Make a persuasion check. You do have advantage.
Oh, thank God, because that's a 3. Okay, so I can go with the 3 or the 1. Which one do you think I should go with?
I'd go with the 3.
Now I can add 0 to that.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a difference.
So-
no, he will. So he will tell you. He says,
No one knows what they're doing.
"We can pull
What?
them behind in the cart, but if there's any trouble, we will be leaving them."
Cord bought you a reroll.
Yeah, well, Cord did buy me a reroll. Let's see if we can do slightly better than a freaking 1 or. Oh yes. Okay. I rolled a 5.
Same answer.
All right.
Sorry, Cord. I have wasted your everything.
So he says basically they'll take them unless they get ambushed or something like that, or they run the trouble, and then they're not gonna sacrifice a Dorgar's life or threaten them over the stools.
Yeah, no, it's that. Okay, that's cool. Everything's cool here. We're cool.
It's ambiguous.
Thank you, Shadow
Which is the best kind of ambiguous.
Yep.
All right. So they seem like they are about ready to move on after having taken a report. It's taken a few hours to inventory everything and to really see what's happening. You see that they go and they try to identify all the soldiers here, and they all turn up here. They're all here, more or less. So no one seems to have run off. And They ask if you're ready to head on out.
Yeah, let's get to the frickin' service.
Let's do it.
Let's be done with this.
Okay. What time is it? It is
It's
15
getting
till 11.
kind of late if we
Yeah.
want to wrap up like as we get to the surface or something.
I think
there's like
probably
there's
could-
like 5 dragons at the surface, so
Wow, there's more than 5
Right at the
dragons on the
door.
surface. What do you think this is? That's where all the dragons are.
it's like a tyranny of dragons, you might say.
Yeah.
These, do you need to call it in 15 minutes or an hour and 15?
I would like to
15
call
minutes.
it in 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Personally.
That's fine.
Not that I'm not
I
having
think-
fun. It's just I'm tired, you know. I
Yeah.
didn't even get a chance to change out of my uniform today, you know.
I think this would be a good time to call it then.
So there's definitely something good would happen when we hit the surface. That's not a good sign.
Well, because as you're heading out, you notice that it gets very, very, very silent, like deathly silent as you are leaving the outpost. Then one moment, you hear like there's ambient sounds in the Underdark, like there's sometimes slight whistling of air depending on where you are. There are Underdark creatures, insects and various things which sit around, which you really don't hear anymore, right? Because you're so used to it. But I mean, you've been into places before where there's suddenly just silence, like dead silence, and it, as they say, the silence is deafening. And as you head out, that suddenly just instantly falls over the group. And that is where we'll end.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay.
We are so dead.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to see with my life is that nightmare.